All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. I want to recognize my colleagues in government, Councilman Dorsey, Councilman Torrance, Councilwoman Ramos, and our director, Steve Sharkey, for joining us for this important announcement. In the first year, my administration has made a concerted effort to correct historically unfair and inequitable policies across our agencies. This is in direct alignment with my administration's top priority pillar of ensuring the responsible stewardship of city resources, which is part of our action plan that we released back in December. At the request of Councilman Dorsey, we looked into fees associated with stolen vehicles in Baltimore City and the unfair burden it placed on the victims of that theft. They have enough to deal with after a vehicle has been stolen, and we hope that this updated policy will provide victims some relief by not subjecting them to inequitable and unjust fines. When a car is towed in Baltimore for any reason, the city is still responsible to pay the fee for that tow. Under this new policy, the city will assume the cost of nearly $250,000 annually that is historically assessed in the towing of fees of stolen vehicles. This is about not victimizing our residents and people who have this unfortunate experience twice. We are picking up this tab because it's the right thing to do, plainly put. $130 is a lot of money to someone who's already down on their luck, and we want city residents to know that we will no longer do this, to be more aligned and more sensible on how we have our fees. This is one in a long line of changes our administration is making to implement more equitable practices. Removing barriers for victims is a common sense thing that we hope everyone will agree with, and we will continue to do this throughout of our city operations. As a part of administration's commitment to ensuring this responsible stewardship and management of city resources, we are proud to work with our council members and agencies to reverse this policy beginning February the 1st of 2022. I want to thank all the departments, including DOT, who've been instrumental in making this change. This is yet another shift we are making to reverse course from those outdated policies of the past to move us into a better and more equitable future. And now I'd like to turn it over to Director Sharkey. Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your leadership on this issue. Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Sharkey, and I'm Director of the Baltimore City Department of Transportation. I really do want to thank the Mayor for his swift and decisive action, Councilman Dorsey, the support of the Council, the Towing Division for the hard work they do every day, as well as the TOs, the Safety Division, DOT team, all working together. Very excited about these changes. Before this change, in addition to the shock of having their vehicle stolen, losing a major investment, and not having transportation to school or work, residents were faced with paying towing fees when trying to retrieve their vehicles, which was an extra burden. While in the past, no other administrative fees were assessed if reported stolen, if the recipient did not pick up their vehicle within 48 hours of being notified, administrative and storage fees could then be assessed. Moving forward, if your vehicle is stolen, once you provide the police report, all towing fees will be waived. Additionally, you may contact parking fines with a copy of your police report for any citations incurred while the vehicle was stolen. Note, you will still be liable for pre-existing citations not associated with the theft. An updated list of FAQs is available on our BC DOT Towing Division website. Thank you, and I will hand it over to Councilman Ryan Dorsey.
Thank you, Director Sharkey. Thank you, Mayor Scott. Thank you to my colleagues, Odette Ramos and James Torrance, who are here with us, and everybody. Insult to injury, no more. I think that's the thought that I'm having right now. First, I want to acknowledge that we have great people throughout our city government who are dedicated, thoughtful, and hardworking, without whom and without the team building of Mayor Scott and agencies like DOT, we wouldn't have to make these kind of changes happen swiftly. So I do really want to acknowledge folks like Liam Davis, Michelle Wurtzberger at Liam Davis at DOT, Michelle Wurtzberger at BPD, Nina Themelis in the Mayor's Office of Government Relations, and Daniel Ramos in the city administrator's office, all of whom I've worked with on fee elimination and equity issues like this one. I want to tell you a story about a related fee. A couple of years ago, I was contacted by a constituent who had had his vehicle stolen, and he reported it immediately that morning. And it was recovered in Washington, D.C. 24 hours later, by which time it had racked up a dozen tickets here in Baltimore City before making its way to D.C. He was able to get his vehicle back very easily, but then in order to get those fees waived for the citations that it had racked up in that one day, he went to the finance department to have them waived, and they said, you need a report from BPD in order to submit that report to the state's attorney's office in order to request that the citations be abated. And you will have to pay the police department for that report. And so similar to this towing fee that we're talking about here today, I went to the police department and said, why are we charging victims to get a copy of a police report just so that they can hand it back over to city government in order to have a city fine waived? And I'm really thankful to be able to say today that that fee for victims of to get police reports is also in the process of being waived, along with this towing fee, as a completely separate endeavor, the kind of thing that's happening inside of our city government on a day-to-day and weekly basis. And so I'm really thankful for the partnership to understand the perspective of the victims and people in the city who are struggling for a wide variety of reasons, and that it's not just happening in my district. I'm not the only one bringing these things to the mayor's office. Councilwoman Ramos and Councilman Torrance are here today because they also spoke to me about having these same issues brought to them by constituents in their district. And this is a collaborative effort to say that we have simple policy changes that can improve the quality of life for people that we can make without hesitation. And I'm just so thankful to Mayor Scott and to Director Sharkey for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman. And with that, we will take any questions you guys have today.
I just wanted clarification about, you mentioned the victims right now, do they still have to pay to get proof for stolen vehicle to waive fees, or is that in the works right now to get that fee?
So both of them. So if you're picking up your car when it's stolen, that fee is gone, and you don't have to pay for the report to get the report to hand it over to DOT to get fees wiped away either.
And then another question on the side about the GTTF report that was released today. Do you have any comment to say about that?
Yeah, I'll simply say that as this is a legal thing, my official thing will be coming from the city solicitor's office. I know that we gave comment, and that comment that I had is what we're gonna continue to say. But I just want to remind everyone, this is an investigation that I asked for when I was a council person, along with Councilman Dorsey at that time, and we're thankful that we have the results now.
Okay, thank you.
Sir?
Yeah, I just have a question about the DPW and the recycling. What's your office doing to make sure that goes smoothly? I know they're moving to biweekly collection, and your frustration that we seem to be back in the pattern again.
Well, listen, we know that, and I know it impacts you guys and where you are too. COVID is impacting every workplace across America, and DPW is no different. And as you've heard me say consistently throughout the pandemic, that solid waste workers in particular have been hard hit by this. Not just by COVID. Obviously, when you're dealing with people's waste and you're out there and you have to, there's no way for them, to do a lot of the protections that many of the rest of us can do in our workplace. They can't do that. But also, when you think about the fact that those workers are working 3 times as hard because so many people at home, you're talking about other injury. We're going to continue to use our management that we have over DPW. Before coming out here with you guys today, we had Clean Stat where we're going through our performance metrics with them, and we're going to make sure that they are doing what we need them to do. We made this decision. This wasn't a decision that we just made lightly, but we have to understand where we are, and as we see improving results and we see less people with the pandemic, we'll be setting the course of how to go back into regular pickup in the future. Mackenzie?
Good morning. I wanted to get your take on, we spoke with a guy who says that he admitted to committing arson. He set his ex-girlfriend's house on fire. He got a plea deal from the city state's attorney's office. And he says that he thinks that plea deals like this are sending the wrong message to the city of Baltimore. Do you think that the city state's attorney's office policies are working, or have you lost confidence in her ability to send the correct message to Baltimore?
Well, as you know, Mackenzie, I don't believe in blanket responses like that. I believe what has to happen is people have to be held accountable based on the facts of every case, and more importantly, what the jurors decide and what the judges decide, as they are the folks who are assigned that duty under our legal system. And that's what we're going to continue to do. For me, my job is to make sure that our police department is bringing these people to justice, whether they're committing arson, murder, a gun crime, and that's what we'll continue to focus on. We'll continue to work with our local state's attorney and our federal attorney to make sure that we are handing them the best cases and hope that justice is sought and achieved for our communities.
He said that his plea agreement was too soft, though. He thinks he should be in jail.
Listen, he has his opinion. I don't know the case. You know, I haven't seen the video that you're talking about. What I said remains true. We have to make sure that justice is met for families across the country, across the city, in a swift way, in a certain way, and these things are going to be done on a case-to-case basis. People who commit serious crime should have to face serious time. Thank you.